2, I just got this new phone holder, so let me know how it looks. More importantly, let me know how I sound, if you guys can hear me well. If you can't hear me well, let me know that also in the chat, or if the audio is coming through okay, because like I said, I'm kind of testing this one out right now to see how it goes, so let me know. However, as I had mentioned earlier today, I just got out of watching The Long Walk at Cineplex Odeon Theaters here in Devonshire Mall. It's my second time seeing it. However, I wanted to take a moment and give my out-of-theater thoughts. I took some notes with my trusty pencil here. The reason why I wanted to give my out-of-theater thoughts is because, as I've described, I really think that there are some Masonic themes and Masonic lessons and Masonic ideas, or at least, let me put it this way, there are ideas and themes and philosophies present within the Long Walk that I think are applicable to our Masonic journey, or at least to my Masonic journey. And I wanted to discuss those. I want to watch it a second time to kind of make sure I got my thoughts in order. Second time, as with the first, it did affect me quite a bit. I think it's not, in my opinion, as good as the book on which it is based, but very few movies are, and The Long Walk is an incredible book. However, the movie is very, very good. It's very, very emotional. And it's very touching. And just on a general note, this channel's about Freemasonry. It's not about reviewing movies or media or anything like that. But I will say, I thought all the actors were incredible. Everybody's been talking about. What's how it just keeps on ticking. Everybody's been talking about. I can't think of the actors' names now, but everybody's talking about Peter McVries, the character, the actor who portrayed him, doing an amazing job, which he did. The Garrity character, everybody's talking about him doing an amazing job, which he did. There's another character named Barkovich. Hello, Dylan. Barkovich. And by the way, spoiler alert, if you've not seen this movie yet, there's going to be a lot of spoilers, so be prepared. If you've not seen The Long Walk yet. There's this one character in The Long Walk. I'll take it. Which one am I? His name is Barkovich, and he's the bully character, or not even a bully so much as just, and he's the character in this movie that everybody kind of doesn't like. A bit of a bully or sarcastic, whatever it is. The actor who portrayed him, I thought, did an incredible job in this movie. It was his final scene in the movie before he gets his ticket, I guess. I think is one of the best acted scenes in the movie, and it definitely got a few tears out of me, and it speaks to some of the themes I'm going to talk about. So spoilers are not over yet. It's probably going to be a couple minutes, but once the spoilers are over, I'll give a thumbs up so you know. Actually, what I'll do is I'll do 2 thumbs up. So I'll give 1 thumbs up when I'm going to start the spoilers, and a second thumbs up when the spoilers are done, because I do want to go through the premise one more time, which I think most people know. But basically the premise is at some type of alternate reality, alternate universe, fascist America, every year 50 young men are selected through a lottery, and they're selected to take part in a competition called The Long Walk. The Long Walk is exactly what it sounds like. It's a long walk in which every young man is expected to maintain a pace of 3 miles per hour for as long as possible. If they fall below that pace of 3 miles per hour, if they fall below that pace 3 times within an hour, they are shot and killed. There's no finish line. Rather, it's simply a matter of the last participant who's able to maintain the pace of 3 miles per hour for the longest, without dropping below, wins. So it can last 1 mile or it can last 300 miles. And I think in the movie it lasts approximately 300 miles, if I recall correctly. Thank you, Daniel. Very kind of you. Please hit the like and subscribe button. So with that in mind, I'm going to give the first set of thumbs up, which means spoilers are now coming. And once the spoilers are finished, I will give the second thumbs up, so you guys know spoilers are now done. So spoilers from here on out. When I think of the Masonic connections within this movie, obviously the first connection, and maybe the most important connection, is just the idea of brotherhood. In fact, one of the main characters, McBride, actually says in the movie, at one point he turns to Garrity and he says, "I never had a brother before." And Garrity, the other character, says, "I never had a brother either." And even under these dystopian, tragic circumstances, they are able to find brotherhood with one another and with many other people who take part in the long walk. And you see that, and I've talked about this before, that counterintuitive nature of that brotherhood and the way the brotherhood allows them, even though it causes them the pain of seeing their brothers lose and seeing their brothers die, or losing their brothers, the brotherhood they have, ultimately the pain is worth it because it pushes them forward. It allows them to move further. It allows them to walk for longer. It allows them to maintain a pace far longer than anybody would, because they ultimately find brotherhood. And we in Freemasonry, I think, understand that. Many people join Freemasonry who have never had a brother. Either they never had a brother literally, maybe they were an only child, maybe they had sisters, or maybe they had a brother in some sense, but they were never that close, they never had a good relationship, and they find brotherhood and friendship, and people that they love as brothers and as friends in Freemasonry, and it allows them to both literally and metaphorically live better, longer, and healthier lives, and push themselves through the challenging parts of life. If, again, you take the long walk as a metaphor for life, which I do, what the long walk metaphorically shows us is the fact that having brothers allows us to walk for longer and allows us to get further down the road than trying to go it alone. Despite the fact that we may think it will be easier to go it alone, the long walk reminds us that it's not easier to go it alone. We need brothers. Well, inbuilt, because I have brothers who love me, your insults about my nose do not concern me. However, I do hope you'll hit the like and subscribe button. That would make me feel good. But there's something else that's even more, I think, important about the long walk. So in the long walk, again, spoilers still going on, what you win if you are the last participant standing, well, but it still is very big. I've grown to accept it in Build Sinner. I'll take it. You get two things. You get an undisclosed amount of money. All everybody says is it's a lot of money. So who knows how much it is, but basically you're rich for life. The implication is you'll never have to work again, and you'll have enough money to not only never work yourself, but your family and friends will never have to work either. But you also get one wish of whatever you want. And the two main characters each have a different kind of wish that expresses their outlook on the world. McVries, his character trait is he always tries to see the good and he always tries to see the beauty in the world. And as he says, it's not easy for him to always see the good and to see the beauty in the world. But that's his goal, and that's what he wants. And so he wants to use his wish to wish for something that will make people's lives better, and to use the money for the same reason. Um, right? He wants to use both his money that he wins and his wish to make lives better for people around him and for kids like him. Because as he describes it, when he grew up, he was an orphan. He didn't have a family. He went to a lot of abusive situations, and he thinks he will have the ability to make the world better for kids who are like him. You compare that to Garrity, who's the other main character. He is going to wish, if he wins, he plans to wish for and he has a more negative outlook on the world. He doesn't see the beauty in it. He's going to wish for a gun, and his plan is to murder or assassinate this character called the Major. The Major is kind of like the leader of this dystopian America. And his plan is to, if he wins, ask for a gun and shoot the Major on the spot. And the other character points out, if you do that and you succeed, won't they just kill you? And he says, maybe. But he wants to do it because he wants to take revenge on the Major for both the world he created, and you find out the Major killed his father for being against the long walk. So what is kind of the point of this? In Freemasonry, I've said it before, the purpose of Freemasonry is to believe that the world can be made better through the application of brotherly love, relief, and truth. It's the desire to fight for or build a better world through the application of brotherly love, relief, and truth. However, in order to build that world, in order to have the energy to build the world, you first ultimately have to believe that the world is worth saving, or the world is worth making better, and the people in the world are good and worth a better life, even at times when they don't seem to deserve it. There's this great scene where Garrity and McBride are talking, and Garrity, he wants to kill the Major, not out of a desire really to make the world better per se, out of a desire for revenge and vengeance. Points to this family who are watching the long walk take place, right? And Garrity says, "Hello, Roblox, good to see you." And he says, "How can you say that the world is beautiful? Look at that family over there. They're watching us in the hopes to see one of us get killed with get our ticket and get killed. How can you say they're beautiful? How can you say this world is beautiful when things like the long walk exist, when you have basically state-sanctioned murders happening for entertainment purposes? When you see in the world, you get this sense of economic destitution and depletion." And McBride says, the sky is beautiful, the trees are beautiful, even that family is beautiful, even though, yes, they've been conditioned by the world they live in to want to see somebody get killed. It's still beautiful because they're still a family, they still love each other, they still care about each other, and that's beautiful. And he says, look, even if you're successful in your wish, you end up managing to kill the Major. What possible benefit of it if you don't believe that that family can be good, that that family is worth a better world than the one we're currently living in? And that's kind of the same way with Freemasonry, right? Freemasonry can be incredibly challenging if you dedicate your life to it. To go to lodge when you don't want to put work in when you don't want to visit a brother in the hospital when you don't want to, when you're tired, to work with a brother you may not like, to dedicate yourself to dedicate something better than yourself means sometimes showing up when you don't want to. It means visiting the hospital when you don't want to. It means working with people you may not like. But if you don't believe on some level that there's good in everybody, that everybody is worthy of a better world, and that the world can be made better, despite even evidence to the contrary, um, then what's the point of building that better world? And you're also just going to burn out, right? McBride at one point says, he tells Garrett, he says, well, whatever you choose to do, if you win and you choose to kill the Major, or whatever you choose to do, he says, choose love, right? Choose to do something to love your family, to love the people, that even the people who want to see you killed. Choose love. And I think that's something that we as Freemasons, at least that I've struggled with, right? Because I've seen, and we all have, but I've seen Masons fall short of some of the things I would expect from them as Masons or just as human beings. I've seen people falter, I've seen people stumble. And when you see that, it's very easy to get the sense of, like, what is the point of trying to build this better world? What is the point of believing that the world can be made better, right? However, what, again, in the long walk, and what McBride points out, and what allows McBride, spoiler alert, what allows McBride to ultimately win is he sees the good. It's not easy. He says, it's not easy for me to always see the good in people, to see the beauty in people, to see the beauty even when I'm engaged in this long walk, state-sanctioned murder, but he still chooses to see it. And that, along with his brotherhood and his desire to make friends and brothers, is what allows him to make it to the end of the long walk. And even at the end of the long walk, he, spoiler alert, he chooses to shoot the Major on behalf of Garrity. He takes Garrity's wish and does it himself, but he does it out of love for his friend, and not to simply get revenge, but out of a desire to both give his friend what his friend wishes and also, or wished, and also as a way to change, to make the world a better place. Get rid of the Major, maybe other things can change as well. So to all the Freemasons out there, I guess what I'd say to you is, if you are, as I have in the past, and as I'm sure I will in the future, and by the way, thank you to us, thank you Christopher, it's good to see you here. If you, like I have in the past, and like I will in the future, are struggling to see the good in people, are struggling to see the beauty in the world, are struggling to see the good in Masons or Masonry, I guess what I'd say is, whether you're technically correct or not, it doesn't matter, right? There's certain truths that are more important than technical truths, right? Truths of the heart, if you want to call them that. And choosing to love the people around you, and to see the good in them, and to believe that the world is worth saving, and that the world is worth or it's worth fighting to build a better world. That is going to help you get further down the road. That is going to help you make it further. Even just sacrificing for your brothers, which may seem counterintuitive, will ultimately help you get further down the road. And I think that's a really important Masonic idea as well. So brotherhood helps us live longer. Brotherhood makes our lives more meaningful. And brotherhood helps us live longer. Brotherhood makes our lives more meaningful. And choosing to see the good and the beauty and the wisdom and the strength in the world will also ultimately help us and sustain us, and will get us further than either desires for vengeance or desires for anger or kind of nihilism that you sometimes see prevalent both in social media and day-to-day life. Hello, Chloe. I hope you're well. Please hit like and subscribe. So that's it for spoilers. Another thumbs up to mean spoilers are done. Just in the more general idea, I would also mention one thing I really liked in The Long Walk was one line where the character who finds beauty in the world says, "This moment matters," says every moment matters. That reminds me a lot of one of my favorite TV shows, The Bear. where one of the things they always say in The Bear is every second counts. It's both a reference to the nature of the work they do, where they have to have everything timed out perfectly, but also is a reference to the idea of every second counts, every second matters. Don't ever take any second with your wife, mother, father, brother, sister, friend, pet. Don't ever take any moment for granted because you may never get it back. I think that's a really valuable kind of lesson. And yeah, so I hope everything I said made sense. I think this movie reminds us brotherhood matters, finding beauty in the world matters, recognizing beauty in the world matters, and every moment matters. And I hope we can all remember that. I hope we as Freemasons can maybe use those lessons to motivate us to continue building for a better world, even in those moments when we don't want to. I will agree with you. I think Bazinga is a good thing. I mean, that's from Big Bang Theory, right? Towers. Again, thank you for saying my observations are very sensible. Chloe, thank you for being here. Dad asked, how far in the future is the movie based? Well, so the book on which the movie was based was written in the 60s, and it's never clear, 60s and 70s, and it's never clear in what year it's taking place. Everything looks in the movie, and even the trailer, so I don't think this is a spoiler, everything in the trailer looks very retro, like all the cars and stuff looks like they're 60s and 70s based. So I don't even know if it's an alternative future. I'd say it's an alternative reality, almost, where it's at some point in American history there was a divergence and a new path was laid out that led to economic ruin, stagnation, just a very crummy world in general. Well, see, that's one of the ways, I guess, kind of spoiler a little bit. I don't know. One thing I love is, so in the movie, at the start, Mark Hamill, who plays the Major, basically he says he created the Long Walk, or the government created the Long Walk as a way to inspire people to work harder. The idea being, if you film 50 young men basically being forced to walk until they die, that will in some way, shape, or form inspire people to work harder out of like admiration and respect for the contestants of the Long Walk. Obviously, you could argue the real reason is it inspires them to work harder out of fear, right? The idea of like, my choices are, because it's clear in the world in which Long Walk is set, it's incredibly economically destitute. This idea of like, yes, my life is bad, but at least I'm not one of these poor souls who has to walk, for a little bit of money, and I'm not going to quit my job or do anything like that, because then the worst case scenario is I'm forced to participate in the Long Walk as a way to make some money. And you see that often in different historical epochs. Ancient Roman Empire is a great example of that, right? Where they created games to the death for the entertainment of the masses, and also as a way to create an us and them. Well, in the book, I loved it. So I do think, even though, again, in the second time, this movie made me cry, both the first and second time, especially the Barkovich scene. I do think the book was better. And one of the reasons the book was better is, how do I describe it? I think King really has a good understanding of psychology, and he does a really good job of explaining how a society would come to accept a contest like the Long Walk, why the participants would volunteer for the Long Walk, which they do in a very technical sense. They do. but how and why they would volunteer for it, and the reasons a society would potentially create it. You are welcome. We got the brother in here. By the way, I don't want to brag or nothing, but I'm in a music video by the Brotherhood. I shared on my social media, both on my personal and Square and Compass accounts, so you can find it there. By the way, everybody watching this, let me know, how do I sound and how do I look? Because I have a new, I know I have a big nose, but aside from that, I have a new stand. I want to make sure it's not interfering with the camera at all, and the microphone. So let me know how I look, let me know how I sound. And I'm going to be ending this stream soon. I will be back on at 1 a.m. tonight, or I guess tomorrow morning technically. Perfect. Yeah, I just bought this now, so this was a good test. I'm still here at Devonshire Mall. By the way, I just want to say one more time, I know it seems weird in a Masonic podcast talking about the mall. Literally in Windsor, it's one of two malls. But we as Freemasons should celebrate our communities and celebrate our community wins and celebrate the things in our communities. And this mall, they've just done a whole bunch of renovation and restoration work to it. They've got a whole bunch of new windows, a whole bunch of new entrances. It's actually really, they did a great job. It's beautiful. And so, yeah, I want to give a shout out to that and to Cineplex Odeon Theaters. I love going to the movies. I haven't been to the movies for ages, and Cineplex is a great movie theater. Well, that you can thank Devonshire Mall for that. I'll be back at my place tonight. It might not be as good tonight, but we'll see. But yeah, I guess what I'd say is my hope is if anybody does watch so far, nobody's been stopping and staring. I have no idea what that means. Oh, popcorn. I did not have the popcorn. I had mini donuts. I will tell you, every summer, back in the day in June, they still have it, but they would have a festival, a fair. I love carnivals. I love fairs. I love carnival rides, all that jazz. And every June, they would have a carnival set up, and they would have a mini donut, mini donut concession stand. And they would serve coffee, and they would open that stand up in the morning for the workers in the carnival to get coffee and donuts while they were setting up the rides. I would go there in the mornings before I caught the bus to work and get a dozen donuts and a large coffee, and then I get another dozen donuts and a coffee when I got back from work. So I was eating 24 mini donuts every day for 2 weeks in June. My doctor was mad at me. Emery, this live stream is about Freemasonry. A lot of different topics on Freemasonry. This one in particular, I just finished watching The Long Walk, and I wanted to talk about my thoughts on it and why I think that why I think it's a Masonic movie. Honestly, Mr. Keeps, you're not wrong. I 100% blended in as a carny. People have thought of me as a carny before. In fact, my dream life would be to live as a carnival worker. I think traveling from town to town in a carnival would be just the greatest life ever. I love travel. I love being on the road. I love small towns. It says traveler here. That's cool, Emery. My grandfather was a Mason as well as my father. Both my grandfathers were a Freemason. On my dad and mom's side, and my father was. Hey, journeymen, carnival workers are skilled trades as much as anybody else, and you could argue they're craftsmen or journeymen. So I agree with that 100%. Emery, I hope you hit the like button and subscribe button. This is kind of a different stream than normal. Again, because it's just me chatting. I'm not having, about a movie. I just thought there were some good lessons therein. But I do oftentimes have more specific topics. I do streams 1 p.m. and 1 a.m. This weekend I'm going to actually have an interview out about Freemasonry in Mexico. I've got a day-long live stream on Friday about writing and Freemasonry. I'm going to do Insta Live, and I've got a stream on Sunday, the 21st, starting at 2 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to 2 p.m. on Monday, the 22nd. Hey, I love singers and songwriters, man. I love music. To me, music is proof. What is the Nietzsche quote, which I agree with? Without music, life would be a mistake. Without music, life would be a mistake. I believe that. I love music. I also love Nashville, Tennessee, home of the Tennessee Grand Lodge. Yeah, absolutely. Instead of stone working with wood and steel and working with people, right? To be a carnival worker, you got to be good with people. And just, nothing but respect for nothing but respect for the working man, whether they're carnival workers, stonemasons, or anything else. Or working on the railway, like my dad, or working in IT, right? Like as Mr. Keeps said he was, right? I'm lazy son of a bitch, but if you're out there working hard, good on you. Oh, we just had a whole discussion about this, Emery. As I was saying, after watching The Long Walk, one thing The Long Walk teaches us is whether there's a actual truth in the idea of life being a mistake or not, you have to choose to believe it's not. You have to choose to believe in love. You have to choose to believe in the goodness of the people around you, and that the world can be made better, and that the world is deserving of being made better, and that the people, even at their worst, are deserving of a better world. And like I said, I've struggled with that in the past. I've seen a lot of people, in my estimation, fall short of what I think they could be or should be. I've fallen short of what I think I could be or should be. But if you don't believe on some level that the good in the world is worth saving, whether it's a mistake or not, and the good that people are deserving of a better world, regardless of regardless of how you may feel in the moment. If you can believe that, on this long walk we call life, you're going to walk a lot further down the road than nihilism will get you. But yeah, and I do want to shout it one more time. I should have looked up his name before I did this stream. But the